Ele ajudou a definir a banda sonora do cinema de ação dos anos 90. Subam o volume que hoje temos um gigante das bandas sonoras. Mancina a acordar a vizinhança. Os fãs do cinema catástrofe viveram tempos áureos em meados dos anos 90. Por entre asteroides em colisão com a Terra e vulcões a emergir no meio de Los Angeles, ficava claro que a fúria da mãe natureza ficava bem no box office. Um dos primeiros megafilmes a apostar forte na novíssima tecnologia de efeitos especiais criados por computador, mas não tanto no argumento, foi Twister, Tornado. Quem se vai juntar a nós não tarda é um nome incontornável na composição de bandas sonoras para cinema, mais especificamente no género de ação. Ficou no radar dos estúdios em 1994, quando compôs a marcante trilha sonora do frenético Speed, e voltaria a ser convidado pelo realizador Jan de Bont para colaborar neste Twister. Ele é nada menos que Mancina, ou Mancina, que aprendemos quando conversámos com ele que se diz Mancina. Ele concedeu-nos uma entrevista cheia de histórias de bastidores. E é obrigatório que ouçam. E nós?
Olá, Daniel.
Vamos falar um bocadinho no filme antes de irmos falar com o Marco, não é?
Exatamente. Olha, este filme, estamos ali em meados dos anos 90, não é? Sim. Temos a Helen Hunt, o Bill Paxton e o Cary Elwes no elenco. Normalmente eram nomes secundários nas produções ou até vindos de programas de televisão, não é?
Quem?
A Helen Hunt, por exemplo.
Mas
não é?
Helen Hunt nessa altura já não era...
O Mad About You durou até 99.
Sim, mas ela já fazia muito cinema nesta altura.
Fazia low budget, acima de tudo.
No ano seguinte ela fez o Melhor é Impossível, esse filme que na altura...
Sim, As Good As It Gets.
Pelo menos fartou-se de ser nomeado para Oscars, pelo menos, não sei se ganhou algum.
Mad About You, essa série, com ela e com o Paul Reiser, durou vários anos. Os atores, quando estão em séries recorrentes e séries de sucesso, normalmente tendem a ser muito associados àquele papel recorrente. E depois é muito difícil de marcarem-se desse papel e irem para outros papéis, percebes? O público muitas vezes não os consegue ver em outros papéis.
Ainda bem que isso mudou um bocado, não é?
Sim, é verdade.
Ela ganhou realmente um Oscar no ano a seguir com o Melhor é Impossível, está aqui. Não foi só nomeada, ganhou mesmo. Ela e o Jack Nicholson.
Sim.
Portanto, Team Helen Hunt aqui.
Aqui o filme foi escrito por Michael Crichton.
Acho que é Michael Crichton que se diz,
alguns dos argumentos de muitos filmes que eu adoro. Por exemplo, o Coma, o Westworld, o Fora de Controle.
E assinou um filmezinho pequenino que pouca gente ouviu falar, que eu adoro, que é o Parque Jurássico.
Tanto Paxton como Hunt são os Hardings, mas que a modos estão meio desavindos e agora são um ex-casal. Ambos ganham a vida a perseguir tornados e a documentar a sua destruição. Querem a todo custo descobrir uma forma de prever a origem dos tornados para poderem criar um sistema de alerta com antecipação suficiente para que a população encontre um refúgio seguro. Mas para isso têm de conseguir enfiar um aparelho, que é a Dorothy, que é uma alegoria ao feiticeiro de Oz, que mais parece uma máquina de lavar dentro de um tornado para o poder mapear. Tarefa nada fácil, e o seu Nemesis é o vilanesco interpretado por Cary Elwes, que vai tentar chegar à meta primeiro.
Verdade, eu já me esquecia que o Cary Elwes e o... como é que ele se chama? Aquele gajo que entretanto também se faleceu.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Exatamente, também me esquecia que esse tipo entrava neste filme, porque é um papel assim excêntrico, não é? Não é bem assim que a gente se lembra dele.
É uma espécie de comic relief, porque na altura ele não era assim tão conhecido.
Sim.
E tu sabes que existe uma cena que atualmente já não existe, mas que na altura, quando o filme foi exibido nos cinemas, via-se a genitália por breves segundos do Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Via-se os tomates do Philip Seymour Hoffman, sim.
Escusam de andar a procurar, porque essa cena hoje em dia já não é encontrada.
Quem é que queria ver os colhões do Philip Seymour Hoffman? Paulo! Aquela curiosidade mórbida, não é? Já agora deixa-me lá ver.
Atarados para tudo.
lembro-me do filme ter estreado nos cinemas, com alguma pompa em circunstância. Lembro-me, num certo fim de semana, estar a falar com um amigo meu dos escuteiros que tinha ido ver isto ao cinema e me estar a dizer: man, pá, o Twister, ganda filme.
Tens que ir ver isso.
Pois se calhar é mesmo isto que eu vou ver assim que tiver oportunidade. Na próxima ida ao cinema é mesmo isto que eu vou ver. Pá, e que filme é que estreia em Portugal coladíssimo ao Twister? O Dia da Independência.
Pois foi.
Lembras-te do Acontece, que dava na RTP2?
Sim, gostava muito disso.
De vez em quando tinham uma espécie de cartaz cultural de cinema dentro do programa e os gajos passam-me a apresentação do Dia da Independência. Foi o primeiro contacto que eu tive com o filme, foi no Acontece na RTP2. E, o meu queixo caiu ao chão e, como tu deves imaginar, o
teu e toda a gente.
O Twister passou imediatamente para segundo plano e foi um filme que eu não vi no cinema e esperei só depois mais tarde para ver em aluguer de vídeo. Só aí é que eu tive a oportunidade de ver o Twister, porque nessa altura a minha cabeça era só Dia da Independência, nessa altura.
Claro, eu compreendo. Eu também, quando vi o trailer do Dia da Independência, na altura eu achei aquilo a melhor coisa à face da Terra.
Yeah.
Parece que tinha descoberto novamente a roda.
Mas eu gostei do Speed, do Twister. Eu lembro-me de ter sido, lembro-me de o alugar em VHS e de o ver e curtir também. Eu lembro-me que às vezes fazia, quando gostava mesmo muito de um filme, aquilo que eu fazia era, quando o alugava, via à noite e depois no dia seguinte, ainda antes de o devolver, via novamente, que era para vibrar mesmo com aquilo.
Era para decorar as cenas.
Eram 24 horas bem produtivas com o filme.
Não é só tu que tens uma história sobre este filme. Esta é mais uma curiosidade. Mas este foi o filme que eu mais vezes comprei na vida. Ao todo foram 7 vezes. E
não em VHS?
Não, eu não gosto assim tanto do filme. Uma delas foi em VHS.
Ok.
Só que eu não gosto assim tanto do filme. Eu sou colecionador, como muitos saberão. E como não atualizo a minha lista, vai para alguns anos, na dúvida...
E tens memória curta, também é uma coisa que é importante aqui se dizer, a memória de peixinho.
Tenho memória, de peixinho, é verdade. E neste caso eu tive dúvidas 6 vezes. Isto talvez te explique, porque este foi o primeiríssimo filme a ser lançado em DVD. É verdade. Sim. E também o último em tecnologia HD DVD.
Naquele formato concorrente do Blu-ray, é isso que tu queres dizer? Sim. Então o filme assim a brincar acabou por marcar um início e o fim de uma geração.
De uma era tecnológica, de alguma forma. Sim.
Não foi o primeiro filme a ser lançado em VHS beta, por exemplo? VHS não, em beta, pronto. Podia ser. Foi o último a ser lançado em HD DVD e o primeiro a ser lançado em beta, também era giro.
You gotta get further ahead of it.
I know what I'm doing.
Cut across the field, Bill.
I know I have to get ahead of it.
You're gonna have to get into that field.
Do you want to drive?
I'm just saying.
Would you like to drive?
Yes, I'd love to.
This is 3 miles southeast. Let's see what she does.
Agora, com esta distância, há coisas que agora ao reveres tornam-se mais complicadas de serem credíveis. Mas na
altura tu se calhar vias em VHS, lá está, não é? A menos que tenhas visto e revisto os teus DVDs. Mas tu às tantas compraste os DVDs, mas nunca os viste, ou viste?
Não, via. Pronto, havia sempre a desculpa de prendas de Natal.
Isso é quase tão indigno como quando nos dão uma prenda que nós não gostamos e depois damos-la, nós fazemos tipo o reencaminhamento para outra pessoa.
Eu estava a dar uma coisa que gostava, atenção. E tu que me conheces bem...
Mas não, se calhar não era uma coisa que as pessoas gostavam.
Não sei, provavelmente não sei. Há uma cena que me sempre fez rir desde aquela altura e ainda hoje, que é a cena da vaca a voar pelos ares.
A malta lembra-se sempre dessa cena.
Entrou para a cultura.
Eu por acaso tenho um bocado a ideia de, nesta altura, haver muitos telefilmes contornados.
Há muitos telefilmes contornados, de facto. Eu que coleciono muita porcaria, muito lixo audiovisual.
Sim.
Tenho diretos para vídeo e telefilmes a pontapé de tornados.
Mas eu tenho esta ideia de quando andava aquela loucura dos filmes catástrofe, a TVI, acho que era muito a TVI, passava durante a semana telefilmes contornados. E de nós termos lá em cima o Twister num pedestal, porque era tipo o filme... catástrofe com tornados, não é? Porque tinham
como o Anaconda,
efeitos visuais de ponta.
O Anaconda, com a Jennifer Lopez, para mim está lá num pedestal de melhor filmes feitos com cobras gigantes. Porque tudo o resto são coisas Não, mas
essa é muito discutível, pá.
Eu sei o que estou a dizer, hein? Agora, mas porquê é que eu o digo? Porque tudo o resto é terrível, não é? E para aquele...
O Anaconda também é manhoso, mas pronto.
O melhor... Eu acho que está um nível de aceitação visual muito melhor do que tudo o resto.
Tem uma cena de uma cobra a cuspir o John Voight ainda vivo e ele a pescar o olho.
Exatamente.
Pronto, se isto é aceitável para ti, não, ok, tudo bem. Pronto. É uma maneira de ver as coisas.
Tu não estás a perceber o que eu estou a dizer, de certeza. E só prova que tu não viste tanto lixo audiovisual relacionado com cobras como eu.
Se calhar não. Também é verdade. Mas vi muita coisa com Tornados e continuo a achar que o Twister é provavelmente o melhor filme com Tornados que existe até hoje.
Sim.
Não se continuou a fazer filmes de grande orçamento com Tornados, infelizmente. E o Tornado do Jan de Bont continua a ter ali uma bandeirola como um feito.
Atenção que o filme teve nomeado para 2 Oscars técnicos, precisamente os efeitos visuais e melhor som.
Sim, tudo bem.
Não ganhou.
Mas sabes que o envelhecimento não é imune aos Oscars. Há filmes que ganharam prémios técnicos e que, no entanto, envelheceram mal. O que eu quero aqui dizer é que há efeitos uns melhores que outros neste filme, mas eu acho que, no geral, e como se trata de um efeito natural, não é? Ou evento, ou são objetos a serem despedaçados, não são propriamente seres vivos, embora nós a dada altura ouçamos um tornado quase que a rugir como um dinossauro. Não sei se estás a recordar dessa parte.
Mas neste caso era como um camelo. O som, aquele som que emanava do interior do tornado, é na realidade um gemido de um camelo em ultra slow motion. Como não é comum haver tornados cá em Portugal, aliás, eu já filmei mini tornados.
Sim,
mas obviamente o termo de comparação há de ser muito diferente. E eu até à data só conhecia a escala de Richter nos tremores de terra, não é? E aqui um tornado de classe F5 foi para mim a grande surpresa. O que é que era uma coisa muito fora do vulgar e que eles comparavam isso a um toque de Deus na Terra.
Eu acho que esse é um mecanismo que eles usam no filme, que é para nós espectadores sabermos com o que é que vamos lidar a seguir. Agora é um F3, ok, já é lixado.
Mas agora preparem-se para o climax.
Depois é um F4, não, agora é um F5, agora é que isto vai tudo com o caraças.
Eu não sei como é que eles não arrebentaram a escala e meteram logo um F7 ou um F8, não é?
Não, mas calma, era para a sequela, não é?
E temos casas a serem destruídas, ceifeiras a serem arremessadas e lá está a vaca a voar pelos ares. Gosto muito há uma cena em que eles vão a fugir ao lado de uma cerca, uma vedação daquelas, tens aquelas estacas brancas, vão ser arrancadas uma a uma à medida que eles vão passando, como se fosse uma perseguição do tornado atrás deles.
Não, mas eu acho que o filme faz uma junção muito bem feita entre efeitos práticos e efeitos digitais. Não é? Eles nunca, como os efeitos digitais ainda estavam muito na sua infância, eles não depositavam tudo nisso, ainda usavam muita coisa prática. E eu acho que o filme faz isso muito bem, porque está sempre... o filme é uma sequência de tornado atrás da outra, com pausas pelo meio para a gente respirar, onde não acontece grande coisa. Eles bem que tentaram criar ali uma espécie de triângulo amoroso com um divórcio pelo meio.
Sim.
Mas ninguém quer saber dessa merda, não é? Está tudo focado nos tornados.
Mas surpreendeu-me, por acaso, não era comum ver o Bill Paxton como cabeça de cartaz. E fiquei bastante surpreso, pela positiva, com a capacidade dele conseguir levar aquele filme.
Mas se tu te recordares, eles não apostavam muito na cara dele na promoção do filme. O filme baseava-se sempre muito nas imagens dos tornados, não é? Pessoas pequeninas cá em baixo. Era um filme que... E aparecia escrito, eu lembro-me que tinha escrito dos produtores...
Eu acho que a dada altura... aquela...
Era dos produtores de Speed e de Jurassic Park e dos efeitos especiais de Jurassic Park, não é? Que ainda era a bitola naquela altura. Mas era muito baseado no feito técnico que o filme era e pouco na história e com sentido, faz sentido.
Na altura acho que o catchphrase que eles tinham inicialmente escolhido para vender o filme isto foi o que foram eles que pensaram isto. It sucks.
It sucks, sim. Só que isso é uma armadilha porque podia jogar contra eles, não é? Imagina que o Titanic tinha sido um flop e, e a tagline seria It Sinks.
O Jan de Bont estava em grande na altura. Vinha do estrondoso sucesso comercial que foi o Speed, não é? O primeiro, não o segundo. Portanto, era ainda considerado um grande realizador em ascensão. Pena que a Lara Croft e a Mansão estragassem um bocadinho ali o percurso da carreira dela. Ao seu lado, tanto no Speed como aqui no Twister, esteve o bélico e melódico compositor Marco Mancina, ou como nós por cá dizemos Mancina, que fez aqui uma banda sonora fantástica.
Ele fez parte do grupo dos Enfants Terribles de Hans Zimmer, em Hollywood, no início dos anos 90, mas depressa ganhou notoriedade a título próprio como compositor de alguns dos mais marcantes blockbusters de ação que preencheram os anos 90, de Speed a Con Air, de Bad Boys a Assassins. Ele conseguiu cruzar o estilo clássico musical com tendências modernas, desde o hip-hop ao industrial, ao rock progressivo, e todos os filmes por onde passou ficaram a ganhar com isso.
Parece que estás a descrever o José Cid, pá.
Só porque falei em rock progressivo, pá. O seu nome, Marco Mancina, ou Mancina, pode ter ficado para muitos esquecido nos bastidores, mas hoje vamos entrar no seu estúdio para o ouvir a ele e a alguns dos seus temas mais marcantes. Hi, Mark. Hello. Good morning.
It's actually noon here, so we're lunchtime. We're lunch people now.
Okay, so it's 9 p.m.
What time
here.
is it there? It's 9 o'clock. That's what I thought.
9 o'clock, yeah, exactly.
We're very happy to have you. Paulo here is a big fan of action music score from the 90s. Am I right?
Yeah, of course. And Mark Mancina is one of my all-time favorite composers from back then.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's only a bunch of music composers that really defined the recognizable action thriller style of score making during the 90s. Trevor Rabin, Nick Lenny Smith, Harry Gregson Williams, to name a few. And I think all of you have Hans Zimmer in common as a mentor. Am I right? As a mentor.
Yeah, I think we started. Well, I did at least, and so did Harry. I started with Hans. Really, I was like the first kind of composer to work with him in his studio, which was back then was in Santa Monica, kind of a makeshift studio, and he was kind of set up in there. And I actually would bring my equipment in my trunk of my car and bring it into his studio and set it up, and then I would work for like the day and then tear it down and then put it back in my trunk and drive back home and then come back the next day. And then eventually he built a complex, but at the time that I started there, I was the only one there, so it was just me and Hans, and it was really, really great. And then he expanded it. It started to really grow. His career has always been really, really good, but it started to grow, and he brought in more and more guys. Harry was one of the first guys, and Nick Lenny Smith has always worked with Hans, so they were old friends, they were old buddies. But when it started getting bigger, I think it was around the time I did Twister. I just didn't really want to be in that kind of complex with lots of composers walking around. I really didn't like that feeling.
Too many cooks?
Yeah, and it was just kind of, I really enjoyed when I had my own room and Hans had his own room, and he would come into my room and listen to what I was doing, and I would go in his room and listen to what he was doing, and we would suggest things to each other. It was like being in a band. It was really, really fun. But, he got so big, and it was too much for me. I'm more intimate. I like my own space, my own studio, my own place, my privacy. So I left there, I think it was 1996, I want to say.
Okay. So you are a California kid growing up in the 50s and 60s. What kind of music did you listen back then? Beach Boys?
Beach Boys. Well, of course I was a Beatle fan. Yeah. Of course I was a fan of the British Invasion and all of the 60s Motown, from Motown to the English, all the English pop. But really, what really got me was late 60s, early 70s. I got really into early Genesis, Jethro Tull, Kate Bush. I saw Peter Gabriel when I was 16 for his first tour with Genesis at the Santa Monica Civic. And that changed my life. I was really into that music and the whole progressive thing, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, all that stuff. I was really, really into that. I was into playing that style of music. I was into kind of studying that style of music. And that's one of the reasons I think that Zimmer and I related so well to each other, because he knew those bands too. So when he first heard my stuff, he realized, well, that guy's really influenced by that genre, and he could relate to that.
Because he's a European composer, that made sense. Because many of those bands came from Europe.
You were talking about your the group you were working on early 90s. Did you guys all get together one day in the early 90s and planned to crush movie score industry with a new muscular-driven sound landscape? Was it your plan?
No, actually, it's funny because I was doing a lot of trailers, and the first sort of breakthrough movie for me that was really just like a score that was in trouble was a little movie called Monkey Trouble.
Yeah.
And Monkey Trouble was a movie that was in trouble with the score. They didn't like the score, and so they hired me to come in, and I came in. I didn't have a lot of time, and I wrote a really nice family type of score. And I had also worked on True Romance with Hans, and I did some scenes in True Romance. And those cues were temped into Speed as a temp score, along with Terminator. Those were the two scores they used to temp that movie. And the director said, well, whose music is that? And they said, well, that's this guy, Mark Mancina. We don't know who he is. He's a nobody, you know. And Jan said, I want that guy. And he went and visited Hans, and Hans said, yeah, absolutely, Mark's great. So Jan hired me, but Michael Kamen was already hired for Speed. So when they found out, the studio found out that Jan was trying to hire me, the studio tried to stop it. So I had to write Speed in secrecy in my studio by myself, putting it all together under the radar while they worked out all the business of how do they let Michael Kamen know that he's not doing it? Why would they hire a guy that they don't trust like me? And it got to a point where the head of production for Fox called me and said, I'm going to be at your studio at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, and I want to hear the main title, and it better be good.
No pressure at all.
No pressure.
Speed, main title. Because that's the feeling I have. Like you went for it with the Speed. It's like your open act.
Yeah.
You have to impress everyone.
Well, you know what? I had the concept, which now I've heard so many composers tell me that they had this concept for their movie, which is kind of funny. But at that time, this is like, I think 94. I don't know when it was.
Yeah, it's 94, yeah.
Probably
exactly.
before, because the movie was released in 94, yes.
Sampling was fairly new. I mean, it wasn't brand new, but it was fairly new. And we had a guy that worked with Hans who did samples. And I told him, I want samples of metallic bus sounds. I want hubcaps. I want wires. I want this. I want that.
Hammers. You can listen to hammers.
I want all this metallic stuff because I'm going to do this with a bus. And then I went to Alan Holdsworth, one of the greatest electric guitar players of all time, and who played with UK, which was a progressive rock band, of course, I really liked. And I went to his house and I asked him to do some really eerie guitar effect sounds. And so between those sounds and then, of course, orchestral, that I had, my sample of orchestral that I was going to do, I just combined those sounds together, and it became a thing. Like for Speed, it worked really great. Yeah. But everybody wanted me to do the same thing over and over again, and then everybody else started doing it, putting all this metallic percussion against orchestra. And I still hear it, I'm just like going. It was really fun. It was really exciting for that movie, and I did it a little bit on Bad Boys. But after that, I just didn't want to do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
I think you set the bar for action soundtracks in the 90s with this one. It's such an adrenaline boost. It's incredible. I have a true story, and Daniel can back me on that. I have the speed score on my car, and whenever I'm late for an appointment or stuck in traffic, I put the music on, and I managed to arrive early to my destination.
He had on tape, not it wasn't digital at the time. He had like those tapes, analog tapes.
Cassette tape or analog tape.
Cassette tape.
Just don't go 55 or whatever it was.
Yeah. The only problem is that later I get some traffic tickets on my mail. So don't try this at home, okay?
What was really great about that movie was that I really, really got to do whatever the heck I wanted. I mean, I really wrote that score and I got to write what I wanted. And Jan had comments. Jan would come in and say, can you change that? Can you move that? Can you do? It was Jan's idea when Keanu saved Sandra Bullock under the bus. He said, and I went into the theme big time, in E minor, I think it was. I went into the theme and he said, is there a way you can make it more triumphant than that? I'm like, more triumphant? It's massive. But he was right, and what it was to go to the relative major key, which was G major, do the same theme but put it in a major key, which is what I did, and it's my favorite part of the movie. It's like it really that and the very end of the movie, my conductor Don Harper, we had one day to write the ending. The ending was going to be something completely different. And Jan called me and said, we need a new ending cue. We need a piano and orchestra, and we got to do it this afternoon. And I was like, what? So we hire in whatever it was, 80-piece orchestra. Don Harper did the chart, which was brilliant, and took my theme with strings and piano. And it's at the end, and it's killer. It's before Billy Idol's horrible song, but it was one of my favorite pieces too.
So pressure does work.
Pressure works.
You were young also. Speed and title. Before we go into Bad Boys, I have to mention Lion King because it's a multiple award-winning soundtrack, and it really touched audiences like no other at the time.
Several generations.
Yeah. What was exactly your contribution here? Because it's a Hans Zimmer soundtrack after all.
So what's funny is that what's funny about that is that they were at the same year. So my career really changed when Speed came out and The Lion King. It was like a game changer. What happened on Lion King was a movie Disney was doing that nobody really wanted to work on. It was the movie it was kind of the dog. It was like, it was called The King of the Jungle. It wasn't called The Lion King. And they really didn't know what they were doing with it. They just weren't sure about it. And Elton John was writing songs, and the songs were about as far from African as you can imagine. So, and they weren't working. And I think the first song that I did, so Hans asked me to do the songs. I mean, Hans said, can you take these songs? They're not working. They've tried a bunch of arrangements. They've tried to make them sound like they fit into an African landscape, and they don't. So can you take these? It was Hakuna Matata. It was I Just Can't Wait to Be King. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? So I took I Just Can't Wait to Be King, and I did an arrangement and did a whole thing with it and played it for Disney, and they loved it.
So that's yours?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I didn't write it. I didn't write the song. I
did the arrangements.
The arrangement, okay.
I took Elton's demo, which was a country song, because it was, and I just can't wait to be king.
I can see that, yeah.
It sounds just like him.
What happened was, what was great about it was that, and then Hakuna Matata was a bigger project for me because I had to score part of that, because there's a scene where they walk over the log and Simba grows up. There was no music for that. So I wrote that scene, that little transition in the song, and did the whole arrangement of the song and the slow fast, and that whole thing that song became was my creation. I didn't write the song, but I did all of that. I really put a signature on that song, and I did that song with Chris Montan, who was the head of Disney Music, coming to my room and realizing this is where a lot of the Lion King is coming from. I mean, obviously Hans was writing, of course, but I was also doing my fair share, and those were big songs. And I mean, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Big songs. So I was those
are the ones that we remember nowadays.
Well, and I was also working with Lebo. Lebo was a person that Hans had worked with before, and he brought him in. And as soon as Lebo and I got together, we started writing all sorts of stuff. And so we eventually wrote a song called He Lives in You, which is like my signature song, because it's played in the Lion King musical to tens of millions of people. And it's the only song that's in the first act and the second act, besides Circle of Life. So that's a life-changing song for me. I mean, I wrote that song during The Lion King, and then I showed Lebo the idea, and Lebo finished it with me. And that song has meant more to us than just about anything that we've ever done, I think.
Yeah, I believe you.
So you're still getting the royalties from Lion King?
Yeah, well, see, what happened was, because Chris Montan had worked with me on those songs, when they wanted to make a musical theater version of the show, Chris said, "We want Mark Mancina."
Okay.
So when he asked me to do it, I said, "Why would I want to do? I mean, I just did Twister. I don't want to go to New York and do a little theater show, And he said, "Mark, I'm telling you, if it comes out good, it will change your life." Well, it's the biggest.
It's still on. It's still on.
It's the biggest thing. It's the biggest media in the history of mankind. So, I mean. Yes, it was the right decision, and it plays in Madrid. I hope we go to Portugal. I hope we will. We're starting a new company in Paris in September.
We'd love you to be here.
Yeah, I'd love to go to Portugal, man. Give me any excuse, and I'll come out there. So
I'll buy you a dinner. One excuse.
Sounds good. So anyway, it was a real life changer. Lion King has been the biggest changer in my career.
The Lion King Broadway soundtrack. He Lives in You, reprise.
Your music has a very ethnic feel and the use of traditional instruments. When you are approached to score a film, what's your main inspiration? The script, the characters, the locations, or whatever the director tells you?
The only time it was the script was a movie that I did called August Rush, and August Rush had to be written. The music the whole end of the movie, the whole piece of music at the end had to be written before they filmed it. So I had to really figure out how that whole movie was going to work. But usually it's from what I'm watching, what I'm seeing, the color of the film and the way it's shot. Like Training Day gave me all sorts of ideas, the way it looked and the way Antoine did it. So, I'm probably more influenced by the picture and the way it's directed than I am by the script.
Mm-hmm. Bad Boys, main title. Paulo, you have to tell him your story about Bad Boys.
Well, Bad Boys, the score had such a huge impact on me because I had never seen an action movie with that visual style, and the music score that gave it a larger scale and an identity. And I still love the electric guitar intro.
Did you see the new one?
Yeah, I went to see the new one.
Because I didn't do the new one, but they used that.
They used it. I know that you weren't involved, but they reused the main title.
You like when they do that thing?
Yeah, right. More royalties to you. Well, here in Portugal, back in the 90s, there was no internet, and we didn't have access to film scores.
It was very painful to be a movie fan in the 90s because there was no scores available here. You know, we could get the album with the main artist singing, but the music score, it was like a rarity. Bad Boys didn't have even a physical.
I don't think that they released the score of it in the United States.
They didn't. Okay.
No, in the new millennium, only in 2003, I think.
Yeah,
but even if there was a commercial copy, you know, there was. We couldn't find it available in Portugal.
There was no distribution.
Yeah, no distribution here.
In Portugal.
It was very, very sad.
Only in the new millennium we could buy on
you know
on
how the
Amazon.
internet mean to us when we finally could. Yeah.
On Amazon or on eBay. So in 1996, I did my own bootleg score mix from Bad Boys.
How did you do that?
I rented the VHS tape and connected the TV to my stereo with an audio cassette.
Wow.
And I set it to rec play, and whenever there was a sequence with instrumental music, I would pause the VCR and set the VHS tape to record the audio. I think I got about 15 minutes out of it, with some jokes from Mike and Marcus in the middle. This was my way, because I love the score so much. This was my way to
get a hold of me. I could have just given you a copy of it.
But when I was in college, I bought finally I bought the soundtrack album with all these different artists but I only bought it because it had just one track
because of
from
you.
The score.
It had the
main theme. Yeah, it was the last cue. And I would set my stereo to wake me up at 9 a.m. With the track number 15, the last one. And I would wake up everybody in the building with it.
That's
every morning for a year.
When I had done that movie, I was walking down a street in LA somewhere, and this definite hip hop guy in this big car pulls up. It was like right out of Training Day. Pulls up and opens his car door to get out, and that was playing in his car. And I was like going, I wonder if I went up to that guy and said, I wrote that.
That's mine. That's mine.
He probably would think, no, you did not.
Oh man, I think is so actual even these days. The sound, the mix that you mixed hip hop. It has
today,
such different influences on that music, and it works so good even today.
Cool.
That's why they reuse it in this last movie.
You know, it's funny, and I didn't even know they reused it until it came out, and the composer wrote me an email and said, I loved your theme and it worked great in the new movie. I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Why didn't you came back to Bad Boys 2 and 3, but...
I did do Bad Boys 2. I started Bad Boys 2 and you know, it's kind of expanding on the same score, and Michael Bay just told me it was the worst piece of crap he'd ever heard in his life. So I just said, you know what, this is going to...
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But you
did the first one. You liked it, I assume.
How could you be from greatness to disgusting?
Because as you guys might not know this, but Michael Bay's notorious for that kind of thing. I mean, he's not...
Man.
You know, he's not a great guy. So it was sad. It was a drag because I was writing some really cool stuff. The funny thing is they used what I wrote in the Bad Boys 2. So I'm on Bad Boys 2. They used what I wrote. The reason that Trevor Rabin even has a career in film music was because I turned him on to Jerry Bruckheimer, because I was like, I don't want to work with these guys, but if you want to work with these guys, because I had done Con Air, and I brought Trevor into Con Air because I was doing the Lion King musical in New York at the same time as trying to do Con Air, and I had Speed 2 coming up, which I didn't even know what kind of disaster that was going to be. So it was it was a really difficult time, and I had toured with Trevor as his keyboard player, so we were buddies. So I said, hey man, because Trevor had scored a couple of Steven Seagal movies. They were pretty bad, but I kind of got Trevor into the Bruckheimer camp, and then Trevor had a career going with that stuff, so it was cool.
Yeah. You did great on Armageddon. I enjoyed that score.
Yeah.
You are a very versatile composer, and I noticed the transformation on your work from Twister to Con Air to Training Day. Twister sounds like a melodic epic adventure with choirs. Con Air has a fast-pacing score with a strong military vibe. And Training Day is more like an ambience build-up for the characters.
Yeah.
They are all so great and so distinct that you would think that they are from different composers. But no, it's all you. Is this transformation necessary for a composer?
It's funny that you say that. I mean, I appreciate what you're saying. And I feel the same way. Not to be egotistical, but I feel like Training Day and Twister, you would never know that's the same composer.
Yeah.
But they both work.
Absolutely.
That worked against me in the movie business. Because if you think about it for a second, when you hear a Tom Newman score, you go, that's Tom Newman. I mean, you know his signature, you can identify.
Like John Williams, the same thing.
John Williams, they have such a signature style that you can identify it. And, that people like that. With me, they can listen to Training Day and they just kind of go, who is that? And then Twister, it's like there isn't like necessarily a common denominator. Yeah. Other than I've had a lot of number one movies, but there's not a lot in, like, what does Moana have to do with Twister, or what does Training Day have to do with Speed? I think they are. That's what I always tried to do, was to try to create a score for that film, not a score that has my signatures on it, but something that really works for the movie. And so that boutiqueness, or whatever you want to call it, has worked in my favor because I've been successful, but also in my disfavor because it's hard for me to get movies. People don't knock down my door to get movies.
I would think otherwise.
Yeah, well, it's who did whatever was the last big action film? That's the guy they want. It doesn't work that way in Hollywood. So, but for me, it's been a much more interesting career. I mean, I don't know too many composers that have had number one movies in film, number one TV show in Criminal Minds, and number one musical theater on Broadway. There's not a lot of people that have done that.
Did you? I know Twister, this Twister soundtrack has a more traditional orchestral score, as Paulo was saying. Was this the first time where you had like a full orchestra working with you?
No, because Speed and Bad Boys were full orchestras.
Oh, they were? Oh, okay.
It's just that because I had also added other elements like guitars and percussion, like metal percussion or whatever. That
sounds
was added
more synthesizer, yeah.
Yeah, it was a and there's also synth in. There's a lot of synth in those too. So it's a combo of that. Whereas Twister probably was a little more organic, a little bit more orchestra heavy. Mm-hmm. And as Paulo said, choir. We had the LA Master Chorale on that, so we had a real choir, and I used that too. So
Twister, driving. Mark, two last questions.
Sure.
Name a movie soundtrack you are proud of, but people usually don't remember? That's the first one?
I have two.
Okay.
Can I have two?
You can have two. Okay.
One is called Return to Paradise. This was a Vince Vaughn drama.
Yeah, I know.
I really love that, especially the theme at the end. I love that. And then, and it was a really intimate thing. I did it in my studio, and I think I had 14 players on it, so it was very small, but I had to make it work, and so I'm proud of that one. And then the other one I'm really proud of, we're actually going to do, here in Carmel, we have a symphony, the Monterey Symphony, and next year it's their anniversary, their 75th anniversary, and they're going to do a whole half the program of my score music. So we've never done this with full orchestra, but I'm going to do a score from a little movie that I did called Moll Flanders, and I really love the themes in that movie, and so but it was done with three players, and then me. So I had no budget, so it'll be really fun to do it with actual orchestra. Kind of do it properly.
And now it's the opposite. Name one soundtrack you wished you could have passed.
A film or the soundtrack?
I mean, a movie that you have worked on that you're not particularly proud of the result.
I didn't like Speed 2.
Speed 2?
Yeah.
So
I think nobody did.
Much like the movie itself.
Yeah.
It was because it was a movie that was in trouble, and Jan was in trouble, and I would have wanted to try to help him, but his attitude was no, the movie's really great, the music's not working, and it was like, no, it's not the music, because you've got a scene that's 10 minutes long of people evacuating a ship. It's the most boring thing I've ever seen, I mean, I'm trying to give it energy and trying to give it momentum, but the movie just didn't work. It's a weird thing on that movie, because see, when we did Speed 1, it was such a success. Then we did Twister, it was massive. And I said, Jan, how come we're not doing a Speed 2? People love Speed. And he goes, because we can't find the right concept. We can't find the right idea.
Yeah.
So some years went by, and he calls me and he goes, you're not going to believe this, but we have the most amazing idea for Speed 2. So I signed to do it, right?
Yeah.
Not knowing what it was.
What can you do, right?
I went to his, of course, and he started my career, so I'm going to do whatever he wants. But I went to his office, and he said, it's going to be on a ship.
It's a slow, very slow moving ship. Yeah.
I haven't seen the result. I think it's a good idea, but
you
it's a
think
big.
So?
The result
it is what it is. Yeah.
Well, the other problem was that then they told me they couldn't get Keanu Reeves, and so I just thought, wait a minute, we don't have Keanu Reeves, and we're on a boat.
Yeah, that was. I think that was the major problem. But
what's cool about Keanu Reeves? I saw him one night. I was at a restaurant in LA. This is like an LA thing, but I was in a restaurant in LA, and I saw Keanu Reeves, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go over to him and just tell him I wrote the score to Speed, because I know he's a music guy.
Yeah.
So,
and I'll just
side question: you never visit the set?
I did on Twister.
Okay.
And I have on several sets, but not on Speed, no.
Okay.
Moving on your story, sorry.
So by the way, my other thing for doing Speed 2 was that I told Jan that I want to meet Sandra Bullock. I want to come up and meet her.
Finally.
I was like, okay, that was in my deal too. So I was like, okay, well that's... So I went over to Keanu. He was sitting at the bar, and I went up to him and I said, I'm Mark Mancina. I wrote the score to Speed. And he goes, Oh yeah, yeah. And he shook my hand, and then I went and sat down. And I was like, I probably shouldn't have gone up to him, whatever, And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden he comes up to my table and he says, "Hey, I got to tell you, the music to Speed was amazing." He goes, "That score made that movie so great. It was really great." And then he left, and I thought, well, that was pretty cool. I'm glad I went up to him now.
Yeah.
So I think he still lives in LA. So I guess you can meet him some other day.
I want to do Matrix 5. Come on.
Yeah.
4, not 5, 4.
4, whatever it is. I don't know which one.
Well, they're shooting in San Francisco, I think.
Oh, well, I live up there, so, you know, I'll try to...
Okay, Mark, it was great.
A real pleasure, Mark.
Yeah.
I never imagined when I was doing that tape that I one day would be talking to you.
Well, if you ever want a real copy of that thing, I guess you've got one now, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Mark.
much. Bye. Conair Team. Ouvimos agora uma passagem do filme Conair, em que Mancina colaborou com outro compositor marcante neste período, o Trevor Rabin, que o Paulo também gosta muito. Quanto ao Mark, ele vai regressar aqui ao podcast, depois o seu trabalho continua nos anos seguintes. Colaborou, por exemplo, com o Phil Collins no Tarzan, mais recentemente no Moana, e é por isso um colaborador habitual nos filmes Disney. Este período mais familiar da sua carreira será para descobrirmos mais tarde.
Eu não sei se contigo acontecia, mas a dada altura da minha vida, eu gostava muito de ver aqueles programas de Storm Chasers que havia no Discovery Channel. Não sei se te lembras disso.
Ainda existem.
Sim, mas...
Esses canais ainda vivem muito dessa merda, sim. Tornados em formato de documentário era uma coisa muito presente, sim.
Depois da morte do Bill Paxton, a estação de TV Spotter organizou uma coreografia com 200 Storm Chasers para que, através do GPS, conseguissem escrever as iniciais B e P do Bill Paxton em honra ou em uma forma de tributo à morte do Bill Paxton, não é? Achei isto um facto interessante.
Que bonito. E há imagens disso? Quer ver isso? Ou seja, o facto do Bill Paxton ter sido por uma vez na vida caçador de tornados num filme... a malta achou por bem torná-lo uma espécie de caçador de tornados honorário.
Sim, honorário. Porque ele desempenhou bem o seu papel. Muito bem, e agora que estamos todos de quarentena, lembrem-se que a única forma de saírem à rua é se um tornado F5 se abater sobre a vossa casa e vos levar a dar uma voltinha. Por isso estejam atentos aos avisos do IPMA.